Good evening, teacher Gregory, and together with my classmate, we will make a short summary of the action research videos. Well, I'm going to give a little explanation about the overview action research. Action research is made up of two words. Actually, in research, it refers to activists. The role of the activist is to see problems that need solutions, and research looks for connection between events and outcomes. But what do we mean by action research? Well, this is a continuous learning plan that we are going to develop through our career, and that there are different ways of approaching acquisition experience. In turn, action research emphasizes the importance of working with others, sharing findings, and learning connectively. Action research can generate change at various levels, such as personal level, um, with this improvement of one on the skill and knowledge, organizational level, which refers to transformation of practice within an institution or group, and scholarly level, which speak of as a means leadership, because a leader is someone who tries to get everyone in the organization in a classroom work to their full potential. About the action research cycle, the action research process is represented a continuous cycle that includes the following stage. For example, identification of a problem. Um, Here we're going to recognize situation that needs improvement. Planning, we are going to design a strategy to address the problem. In action, here we implement the plan strategy. Observation, we collect data on the effect of the action. And reflection, we analyze the results and plan the next steps. In conclusion, action research is a useful tool for professional development and continuous improvement. Here we also analyze that what happened and try out new ideas and learn from the results. This method teaches us to observe, act, act with intention, and think about how constantly improve. In addition, by doing this together with others, we create a stronger and more lasting change.
Hello everyone. Now I'm going to give you a short summary about the perspectives and approaches of action research. As we know, action research is a type of research that generates new knowledge and seeks to solve a problem. However, there isn't just one way to carry it out. First of all, it's important to understand that all action research is collaborative, but the way of how people work together can be different. As a result, we have some approaches like collaborative action research, participatory action research, community-based action research, and action learning. Also, there are many ideas on what action research is, but most of them agree on three things. First, it requires critical reflection on our practice, beliefs, and actions. Second, it looks for real change in the world, not just for knowledge for academic purposes. Third, action research brings transformation. And as we have seen, this can happen in three levels: personal, organizational, and scholarly, when findings are shared with a wider audience. Now, let's talk about some perspectives. Researchers like Jean McNiff see action research as a tool for professional development, and it can be used to examine and improve practices in different contexts or fields, such as education or healthcare. Another perspective comes from Jack Whitehead, who described action research as a living theory. This means that we build theory during the research process. There is also the idea that action research can promote social justice. For example, it can give a voice to marginalized people who are often ignored, and also raise awareness of serious social issues. One more important point to consider is cultural humility. This means that as researchers, we must remember that we all have bias, even if we try to understand a situation from others' points of view. Finally, for those who are interested in conducting action research, there are two useful recommendations. First, engage with action research communities or organizations because they provide valuable resources and forums for discussion. And second, use tools like online polls to compare your ideas with others and reflect on your approach.
Hello everyone. Now I want to give you a summary about the third video, which is called Finding My Research Question. This video explains us how to locate the central challenge of your research project, and this is through developing action research questions to guide your work. In action research, you are always looking on the social plane, looking on how different perspectives or different activities influence the outcome in a social setting and how these changes take place in a complex social system. So there are many ways of finding questions. The first step is to explore your values. The value search is the center of your action research process. This is the way you want to work in the world. So you have to ask yourself some questions like why drives you? What challenges you? What are you deeply curious about? What would you most like to change? If you could be an expert in some area, what could be that area and why? The next step uh, in the process of finding your research question is core values. In this step, you have to make a list of as many values as you can. Then think the values that are really critical to you and choose a list of 3 or 5. Then with that values that you are prioritizing, you have to generate or create a story that describes how these values are important to you. Maybe you can create a history in the past or in the future in a narrative version, and this history have to explain why these values that you choose are important for you. If you have critical friends, you can share to them your history and then wait for feedback. The next step in this process of finding questions research is the alignment. And go from your values to forming your question. Ask yourself questions like, are my values evident in my workplace? Is there a perfect alignment between the way I want to work and the way I have to work? And finally, the final step is framing the questions. Here also you can ask yourself some questions that like, how can I inspire people to work more collaboratively and effectively on projects? How can I improve my leadership? What can I do better in my work? How can I help students to be more engaged in their learning? And all these questions, all these steps will help you to limit your topic or challenge on which you want to focus your action research project. That brings us to the end of our presentation. Thank you for watching and listening.